Hello everyone! Welcome to Australian Book Travels, where we travel to Australian country towns searching for bookshops and libraries whilst discovering each town's rich history. This week we find ourselves in the Victorian Murray River town of Wahgunyah. Although a surprisingly small hamlet, Wahgunyah has a beautifully woven history. Located in the local government area of the Shire of Indigo, Wahgunyah is 298 kilometres northeast of Melbourne and 282 kilometres northeast of Bendigo, with a population of approximately 1,100 and an average yearly rainfall of approximately 540 millimetres. Situated on the southern or Victorian banks of the Murray River, which divides the states of New South Wales and Victoria, Wahgunyah is a sister city to Corowa in New South Wales, shown last week on the channel. Wahgunyah sits on the land of the Wurrung tribe, a sub-branch of the Yorta people. There are two suggestions for the interpretation of its name. One, that it means big camp, and the second as the resting place of crows. We think the second suggestion is more appropriate and most likely. Today, Wahgunyah initially appears to be a town to be driven through in order to reach either Corowa in New South Wales or Rutherglen in Victoria. And yet, if we stop at one of the town's cafes or walk its streets, we find a once thriving town renowned as the busiest, furthest Murray River port upstream of Echuca. Europeans settled here in the 1840s, essentially initiated by Mr. John Ford, who purchased around 12,000 hectares for cattle grazing. By the 1870s, Wahgunyah had 7 hotels, a post office, custom house, schools and retail shops, churches, wineries, and a healthy-sized Chinese community. Not to mention the Nestle food processing factory, which is now Uncle Toby's. In fact, the Australian author Gabriel Wang's great-grandfather owned a shop and working bullocks in Wahgunyah. He was known as R.Q. Chen. R.Q. Chen was immortalised in Gabriel's series of novels, beginning with Poppy and the Thief, set in Wahgunyah in 1864. The series is a must-read. cannot visit Wahgunyah without discussing the historical importance of its customs house. Prior to 1895, Australia was divided into 6 colonies under the British Empire rule. They were New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, and West Australia. Each colony had its own independent government, rail and tax system, although they did unite occasionally to work together deciding on how to defend Australia as a whole and to stop immigration of non-Europeans. Throughout the 19th century, custom houses were built in all major ports and crossing points between each colony, and custom officers patrolled the borders to prevent smuggling of taxable goods. Each colony had its own independent government, rail and tax system, although they did unite occasionally to work together, deciding on how to defend Australia as a whole and to stop immigration of non-Europeans. Throughout the 19th century, custom houses were built in all major ports and crossing points between each colony, where all people and horse-drawn vehicles were searched upon crossing the border for any items that could incur tariffs. Custom officers also patrolled the borders to prevent smuggling of taxable goods. The Customs House in Wahgunyah is a remnant of this time and practice. The size of each customs house throughout Australia is indicative of their importance during the 19th century. In 1989, as more people descending from British subjects were born in Australia, the New South Wales Premier, Henry Parkes, called for the Australian colonies to unite as one. In the 1890s, the Australian Natives Association led the campaign by starting federal leagues. There was fierce debate during this decade, and by 1900, the Australian Constitution received royal assent from Queen Victoria. And by 1901, Australian Federation was born, uniting Australia as one country, abolishing intercolonial tariffs, with the exception of Western Australia, which retained import duties on all goods 5 years after Federation. our visit to Wahgunyah, we enjoyed a beautiful meal at the River Fish and Chips Company, sitting in the cafe's gardens, where our dogs were most welcome and we could relax. We recommend the vegetarian burgers and salads. They were delicious. Wahgunyah's township has diminished in size over the last century, but it has not forgotten its past, and nor should it. A visit with a walk around, taking an interest in its history and its present facilities and businesses, help to formulate the future survival of these small country towns. At the cost of a little time and the price of a meal or a coffee, we can ensure the continuance of these important places in Australia. Well, that's it for this week. An essential, albeit short visit, but our journey continues next week on the channel, where we make our way to yet another country town filled with hidden treasures. Thank you for watching, and please do like, share and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video. Until our next tour of a wonderful country town, or at our book recommendations where we talk all things books, happy reading everyone, safe travels, bye for now.